All right, you guys, welcome to another episode of I'm Super Excited with Rory James. I'm super excited about this episode because we have an awesome new guest who we haven't had on before, who I've wanted to have on. And sometimes I feel like I use the podcast as a friendship tool because a lot of what's happened on this podcast is I know people casually, or I know people socially, or I know people through stand up, and then they come on the podcast, and then I'm like, oh, now I really know this person, and it's like such an opportunity for me. So really, this podcast is about me and my needs and my social wants. But today, I continue my takeover of the two gay Matts universe, metaverse, the gayverse. People might know that I sometimes fill in for Matt Steele on the Two Gay Matts program. And I like to torment my dear friend Matt Palmer, who comes on this podcast all the time, and everybody loves him. Some people I think like him more than they like me, which is fine. And so this guest is a super talented actor who I met through the wonderful Matt Palmer. And just when you thought we couldn't have any more gay Matts, we do. He's also a super talented actor. Please welcome to the program Matthew Bridges, aka Matty
Wow.
B.
Rory, that was so amazing. I can't even believe that was so phenomenal. That was so
Well,
good.
thank you. I mean, it's been thank you for doing the podcast. I've already
Yeah.
complimented your hair. People who are watching on YouTube, you have a beautiful. It's not. Does it qualify as a pompadour? Or
So that's the vibe I always try and go for because I love a pop. The higher the hair, I love a height moment in my hair. But yeah, I guess I don't know what this is. This is kind of just like a messy look over. I don't know. We'll say it's a pump. Pump at
it's
circumstance.
working. It's
Thank you.
really working. And yeah, so my comedy idol is Conan O'Brien, and he is famous for his
His hair
pompadour.
coiffs. Yeah, his coif. We love Conan's coif. Yes.
And Conan is in his 60s now, and I think as gentlemen get older, it sort of is quite a flex to have the volume, right?
Yes, absolutely. Have you ever met Conan? Have you ever seen him or met him before?
Beautiful question. So he hosted the Oscars the last 2 years,
Yes.
and he was testing out, as comedians do, material at different shows around LA to get ready for the Oscars. And I do this show sometimes at Akbar in Silver Lake. What part of town are you on?
I'm in Pasadena. Well, out
Okay,
Pasadena, Burbank, Pasadena area. Yeah, yeah.
you've been to Akbar, I would imagine.
Yes, yeah, 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 yeah. We love
So
Akbar.
there's a show that Bruce Daniels runs called Drunk on Stage that I do sometimes, and it's always a great show and a great audience. And last year when Conan was getting ready for the Oscars, I knew that he did Drunk on Stage, and so I was booked this year to do it in February, and I was like, wait, like what if it felt like a real possibility that
Yeah,
he might come back and do it. So I do the show. I have a great set. Conan doesn't come. I'm like I'm not like let down. I was like, oh, that like would have been nice. Conan does the show the next week.
that's amazing.
Same show
Of
that I was
course,
on.
that's so funny. So you did this. You
Um,
passed in the night. Yeah, yeah,
it was it's and he's from Boston like me, and he's an awkward Irish woman like me, and so
yeah.
there's a lot of overlap. But so the answer to your question is no. But I think you might have better hair than Conan actually.
No, 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 no. But when you say it was so funny when you mentioned Conan's hair. So I've met him, kind of, in a way. So this is when I was living in San Francisco because I'm originally from the Bay Area, and he was doing like a tour through SF, like he was doing like a show or something. And I remember we got tickets because a friend of mine was working the actual event and was like, "Hey, do you want to come see Conan?" And we're like, "Yeah, yeah, sure, sure." So we're sitting in the audience, whatever. It's a commercial break because I think they're doing it live. And so I'm talking to my friend, and we're just like, shooting whatever, and we're just talking. And then people are like, "Hey, hey, hey," and I'm like looking around. They're like, "What?" And they're like, "Dude, dude," and they're like tapping me, and I'm like, "What?" And I look on the stage. We're maybe like eighth row, so we're very close. And Conan has direct eye contact with me. And as soon as he makes eye contact with me, he does his traditional, and he goes, like he
Yeah,
does
yeah,
that, like
yeah.
he does for the podcast listeners. He does this really crazy smile and like a thumbs up, and his hair kind of flops around. And he looked at me and he did that. And then I did the exact same thing back to him. That's my Conan story. The
I
one
love
time.
that story. How long
Love
ago
it.
was that?
Oh, God, that must have been like 15, 20 years ago. It was a very long time ago. It was when I was a baby, like in high school or something like that. Yeah.
I didn't know that I either forgot or didn't know that you were from the Bay Area, but it
Yeah.
so tracks because you give those vibes for sure.
What's a Bay Area vibe? I like
Well,
that.
okay, so I actually, this is very embarrassing, but I lived
Hmm.
in Los Angeles for many years before I spent very much time in the Bay Area. But
Okay.
last summer, I was there with my cousin actually, and I had such a good experience. And like, I didn't realize I get it now.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
get it. And I find it to be extremely peaceful. And I find the people like, it's I also so I just last week I was podcasting from Seattle and I spent a little bit of time in the Pacific Northwest, and I do find that Bay Area people are quite an interesting hybrid between like bridging the
Yeah,
gap
yeah, yeah, yeah,
between
yeah.
Southern California people, because
Yeah.
you guys are pretty like Southern California people, but you're chill like them. And it's like
Okay.
it's and I found it like I think there's something about the Bay and the transfer of moisture that's very I find very peaceful.
Love
Like,
that. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm like, "Oh, I have to spend more time there." When did you move to LA?
Gosh, this was bad. So I came here. I want to say it was 2009, 2008, 2009
And this
to
was for
LA.
acting, I would imagine.
Yeah, well, this was actually so I actually graduated from school in San Francisco with like a cinematography and theater major. So when I came down here, I was working behind the scenes. I was originally supposed to work on Pushing Daisies. I don't know if you know the TV show. Way
Yeah,
back in
yeah.
the day. This was like right out. This was like an internship, so it was my last couple of years in college, and then I had applied for that, but then they went on strike because of the writer's strike. Yada yada yada. The first one.
Yeah, I was going to say the OG
Yeah,
the
the
last
OG
one.
a long time ago. But then, not the last one, but then started working at it was called Culver City Studios. I was interning there when I first moved out here, and then that's kind of. But then in front of the camera took off before behind the camera, and now I'm doing both. So love it. We
Well,
love it.
so you weren't a kid that grew up like you were like I'm going to be an actor. That was not the idea.
I think I liked it. I think I liked like as a kid, you do those like little things for like the assemblies and stuff like that. And then in high school, I really liked it. Like that's kind of where it took off. I didn't necessarily know if it was like a career move. Being mixed Asian, I remember my mother, who's Asian, Japanese. She was like, "Is that a career?" You know what I mean? She was like, "Is that a career?" My dad was a little more supportive, but now they both
Are
love
you
it.
saying that because that's a classic Asian mom
It
question?
is. It is. It's a little.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of the shame and a little bit of that. And like when you grow up, it's just kind of like, well, so and so seems to be doing something in the field of technology, or so and so seems to be doing
Right.
something in the field of
Okay.
being a doctor. But they're amazing and love them. What about you? Wait, did you come out here with sole purpose of comedy, or was it?
Well, it's so. And by the way, I just want you to know, as I'm averting my eyes, I'm writing down notes as we're going. I don't want you to think that I'm being rude,
No,
and I'm also
absolutely not.
I also have notes for things that I wanted to bring up. But I had such a winding road of it. That's such a Mariah way to put it, which is so
Here we
funny.
go. I forgot. Oh my God, Rory, we have
Well,
so
I know
much
we
to
actually have
discuss.
so much to talk about
Wait,
because
yes,
we've had some experiences together. So, but anyway, what I will the abridged version is
yes.
I thought I would be in New York forever because that's where I went to college. Matt Steele and I were the same year at NYU, but we
NYU.
didn't meet there. We didn't meet until out here through Palmer, but we were the same year. And all we like to do is remind Palmer how much younger than him we are, which is one year, but we're so much younger. And by the way, my takeover of the gay Matt metaverse continues because next week on the podcast, Matt Steele is
Love
joining
it.
us.
I love it. We'll have
I
to give him a video.
exclusively booked gay Matts now.
we have to do a shout out for him, or we'll have to give him like a video message, like like on Andy Cohen when it's like past guests are like, "I have a question for your next guest," and then
Yes, yes. Oh my God! Wait, do you have a question for Steele?
no, I don't. But
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if I should plug it now or later. But like, Steele was actually I produced a short film recently, Sin and Tonic, which Steele is one of the lead characters in, which it all
Oh
works
my
out
gosh!
so perfectly well. Yeah, we're in post
Well, let's
production now.
plug that.
Let's do
Yeah.
it. We'll plug it right now. But yeah, it's directed by the fabulous Lauren Baldwin, written and DP by Scott Duvall, he's been like a projectionist in the LA area, like well-known projectionist, and kind of is now starting to get into writing and DPing.
Wait, and so you
Beautiful.
produced it or you're in it?
Produced it.
Okay.
Well, I make an accidental cameo. I don't know if I should tell that story here. Well, I can say we had booked. It takes place. So the concept of it is there's a queer bar owner in Vegas, and one fateful night he has to kind of come into his own and like defend himself in his bar. Long story short, there's another scene where they're out at a pop-in gay bar because he owns this like divey one. Steele is the love interest, if you can believe that. You know what I mean? A lot of acting. No, I'm just teasing. I love you, Steele. But in this scene, we had a bunch of go-go boys that we had like booked for the show because it's like if you're going out to a bar in Vegas, there's got to be go-go boys. They all backed out, not backed out, but all couldn't make it for one reason or another. So producer Matt had to maybe remove and live his go-go boy fantasy for the night.
Wait, you played a go-go boy in the movie?
I had to, but I'm hoping that it's in the far, far background with a very deep
writing this down because I have always sort of like back in the days when I would go out in West Hollywood and like go to the Abbey, I would imagine like I was like, oh. First, I was like, I would make the worst go-go dancer because if anybody fucking touched me, I would yell at them. The Boston would come out and I would be like, what the fuck? Yeah. And so I would get no tips. But I was like, oh, it might be fun to play a go-go dancer because then I'm in control. I have some control over.
Where were you in late April? I should have just reached out and just been like, Rory, please just.
I would have done it. I probably would have done it.
See, that's the thing. Okay, well, for the next time when we do the sequel.
Well, that's like the hair thing where it's sort of like a getting older flex where you're like, yeah, you know what? Like, I probably wouldn't have done it when I was 24, but now I'm like, yeah, I can fucking pull this off.
Yes, exactly. And so many things now, like as we're getting older, it's like, oh, do you want to drop full trial for a film? I'm like, yeah, I guess so. Why not? Or it's like,
wait, let's talk about that because it's so funny.
Sure.
What comes with like they don't tell you like the confidence that comes with getting older. It's why when I was 21. Okay, so bringing it back to your question that you asked 5 minutes ago,
love it.
I moved out. I thought I was going to be in New York forever. I moved out here because I was in love, and the guy that I was with was sort of gay-miss. He was on a famous gay show, and he was 15 years older, and I just remember feeling like. When I was 21 and he was 36, I was like, that's what a real grown man is. You know what I mean? And then now I'm the age, that he was then. And I'm like, oh, it's a confidence that comes with lived experience and shedding insecurities and stuff like that. And it's like this silly idea that like people are their hottest when they're 21 is like not if you're doing it right, because actually like a real grown man is so much hotter.
Yeah.
And to your point, it's like you have the confidence to do things you probably never thought you do. Wait, so are you wearing a teeny little underwears?
That was for a different. So like there was a short film that we did like a film festival circuit called Just Between Us that I was in, directed by the brilliant Zach Hugg and Ben Bauer wrote, and it made the circuit. But that was one I was just like, yeah, let's go ahead and let's do this. This will be fun.
Wait, you're nudie in it?
There's some. Yeah, we'll say maybe. I'd say check it out. Check it out.
Well, tell people what the name of it is so that
so they can go research. It's called Just Between Us. It's a very, very cute. It's a short film, very, very cute. Premiered at the.
Okay, so Daryl. People know it's Daryl, my ex, and he's sort of morphed into like.
I want to know who this is.
Daryl Stevens. We've talked about him before. He was on Noah's Ark, the gay black show.
Yes, yeah.
Like the original before it was before he did Rivalry and all that stuff. Anyway, I remember when I turned 30, he was like, take pictures. Cute. So what I'm saying about like you like that moment also there is sort of like why don't if we're gonna do it, let's do it now.
Absolutely.
Right? Good for you.
Absolutely.
Now you people should I don't know how public you are about your personal life, but you are in a committed relationship.
Have been a public committed. Yeah, no, I don't really talk about it much, but it's just like kind of a thing that it's just it is, and it's been committed.
You seem like, and I can sense this on people. Are you a relationship person?
Sure. Yeah, I think so.
You seem like one.
Oh, I don't know that Bay Area. That's what you're sensing. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think there's something about people who it's like an attention span and like a centeredness. I'm not saying it's good or bad to be a relationship person or not, but as my therapy journey continues, I'm just sort of noticing. And also, I do think because something that in that relationship that I was just talking about, that was my first time being in a relationship with an actor, and like
Mm,
understanding what it means when like your boyfriend is going to set to shoot a sex scene, and
right.
like okay, like, and we had some conversations where I was like, I can be cool with this, but I need you to be cool with me about like let's have a conversation about, you know what I mean? Like it was
Yeah,
a
yeah,
really
yeah,
interesting
yeah.
experience because I was like, I understand that this is your job, but like you can't come at it from the perspective of like, well, just deal with it. You know what I mean? Like you gotta like guide me through being comfortable with this.
Yes,
It's interesting.
absolutely.
Has that something that's since you've been acting come up for you in relationships? Like how to no no.
I don't think so. Well, no, no. I mean, like that's it's a really good. I think what you tacked on something, which is like to be in a committed relationship. I think it really does stem from like a fear of STDs. I think that's all it is. I think everyone in a committed relationship has just an intense fear of STDs. I think that's all it is. I'm just teasing. I don't know if that's actually,
No. Okay.
but
Well,
it's a
that's really
perk. It's a perk of that. Um, if you know you're
well.
monogamous and committed.
Well, okay, so that is a great way to describe the first 3 quarters of my 20s because my ex, he, okay, so being older, he went to UC Berkeley in the mid 90s on the tail end of the AIDS crisis. So
Oh,
he saw a lot
yeah,
at a formative age for him. And so when I'm 21 and I'm sort of like becoming super sexually active, he instilled the fear of God in me
yeah,
about the history of the AIDS crisis and what is it like. And it's so interesting because this is pre-prep, you know
yeah,
what I mean? This is like,
yeah.
because
Right.
now it's such a different landscape because everyone's on prep, and so it's like a different like situation, but I was terrified of getting STDs, and that, but isn't that an interesting thing? I know you were joking, but like it's a really interesting thing specific to gay people, particularly ones who are like a couple years older than us,
Mm,
um and and in a larger context, people who are in relationships because they are, and I don't mean that this is true of anyone specifically, but like can't be alone. You know what I mean? Like, and
yeah,
it's so
yeah, yeah,
interesting
yeah, yeah.
because as much security can be found in a relationship, I do often observe some people are in it out of fear. You know,
Hmm. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That could be. That could be.
like people. I'm sure you have like the couples in your life who you're like, oh, they make it look fun, and then you have the couples in your life who you're like, oh, don't want to be that. You
Sure,
know what
sure,
I
sure,
mean?
sure.
And I think sometimes it comes down to the reasons they're in the relationship in the first place.
For sure. Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
also, I mean, so did you guys meet here or in the Bay?
Sure. In LA, but via. Do you remember OK Cupid? It was an OK Cupid thing. I know.
I love that you said remember because it doesn't.
Does it
People
still
don't talk
exist?
about it now.
Yeah, I don't know if it still exists because I feel like it's shifted to like what is it now? Like, Swipe.
Hinge is
Yeah,
big.
I was like Swipe or what? I haven't been on them in so long, but Hinge. Uh, what are some other ones? Well, I know Grinder.
So I feel like Tinder's gone. I feel like Tinder's
Tinder. That was the
faded,
one I was thinking
but
of.
that
Okay.
that was big for a while. Yeah, no, it's interesting. I love to. I don't mean to be invasive with my line of
No.
questioning, but I love talking to people who are in serious committed relationships because I'm like,
How?
I'm
How?
fascinated. Well, I've been single for a really long time,
Uh-huh.
so I'm interested. You know.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think the core of it and how we met was it was just we met and we never stopped laughing. And I know that sounds like really trite, but it is. I feel like we still make each other laugh, literally, just like earlier this
Oh, I
afternoon.
love
And
that.
so I feel like if you can find someone, which is I'm sure for a comedian too, like finding someone that you can laugh with and like have share a sense of humor with. I think that is really the core of what makes something last that long.
That I mean, to me, it's like, and I also, being a comic and also needing to get laughs all the time. Like, I don't need, and I don't want to date a comedian, like at all. Like, so I don't need like someone who's like need. It's actually better if they don't need the attention, but I do need somebody who can like. I always say like hit the ball back. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like,
Yeah. 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 Hmm.
so in Seattle, there's a running joke in my act, but it's true because it's in my life that like whenever I travel I can find a boyfriend in any city except the one I live in, which is why I was so fascinated that you met yours here. Because in LA, it seems that everyone's so relationship averse and has no attention span. And I was in Seattle, and I spent time with somebody who I was like, I was there. I had a really busy itinerary, and so I was like, basically the first night I was there, I was like, it's tonight or not or never, because I'm going to be busy. We ended up spending 3 out of the 4 nights together. We made the time, and it's like it's that thing of like it's almost like you're not even in control of it anymore. Like, oh no, we will be seeing each other. Continue. And because it's going so well. And then this is embarrassing, but I don't mind talking about it. I actually cried when I was saying goodbye because I was so overwhelmed by like what you're describing, which is like when the chemistry is just kind of like, it's just undeniable, you know?
Is it going
And so that's a beautiful origin story.
Is it continuing? Are you in Seattle continuing?
It's hard because I think we're both super realistic about we do not live in the same city, and that's how it's going to be for a while. But we're definitely I'm definitely like essentially part of the crying was like this is going to need to continue in some fashion. You know what I mean? Like and something also that I like about like if this had to happen when I was 21, I would be in Seattle now. You know what I mean? Like it would be like this like impulsive intensity. And what is I am starting to understand so important to longevity in relationships is like just let it breathe. And if it is meant, it'll stick around. Like if I was 21, I'd be like, is he fucking somebody else? And now I'm like, I hope so if he wants to. You know what I mean? Like that's not even occurring to me. Like I love, and it's interesting because I haven't been in a relationship for so long. And I think one of the biggest differences in me since I have been is how much more secure I am. Were you guys have been together for a while. So have I would imagine for you, like you've been growing since you've been in the relationship. Are you a different person now than you were when you guys first got together?
Absolutely. And I think it is because of that. I used to be extreme, like super Taurus, like that's where I originated. So was super jealous, was super, like in my head about a lot of things. This was way back in college and stuff like that. But we've been together 16 years, and
that's incredible.
It's a long time. But I think at the beginning, it's so funny you were mentioning Seattle and like a long distance thing, because at the beginning we had to make time because they lived about 2 hours away. Like, so we had met in the same city. We met in LA, but they were out in like a couple of hours away. So we had to make time on weekends during the week, trips kind of thing for a good
which is so romantic.
Yeah. but it was great. And then that kind of just led to more growing, but then also they're in the mental health field in psychology, which is completely different than acting. I mean, there's like parallels and whatnot, but I think I had never been able to express how I was feeling in a relationship, jealous feelings of happiness. I was never able to express it until seeing them, if that makes sense, and then was able to.
Was it because of the relationship, or was it because of their profession?
Both.
Like the
both.
Okay,
because you learn from someone. Like you learn actively or learning from someone, and I think that dating or seeing someone not in your profession is, for me, I love learning, and I feel like it's you just soak up information, and if you're dating someone that's not in the same field, there's no professional jealousy, in my opinion. There's no professional jealousy. There's no, they're doing better than me. None of that. It's just like you do your thing. And I think this has been what's allowed us to last so long is kind of you do your thing, I'll do my thing, and we always will meet somewhere in the middle.
That's it. And well, it's why it's funny because some of my most treasured friendships are with comedians because I feel so understood by other comics. Like I've always said it's the first time when I was in a green room with other comics, I was like, oh my God, this is the first time I have ever fit in anywhere. But the idea of being in a romantic relationship with one sounds like the worst
Tedious.
thing in
Yeah,
the world. So I absolutely get that, and I think you sound it. This is the other reason why I said you seem like a relationship person, is you sound very evolved. But I want to get into, you and I have had some shared experiences, memorable. Two big ones. Okay, so I think, did we meet at Mariah Gay Pride?
We met at Mariah Gay Pride.
Okay,
I think that's the official origin story of the. I was going to say
Rory
origin story. Yeah.
You guys weren't living in the Bay then, were you? Was somebody else there in from the Bay? Okay, so to everybody listening, what happened was, so Mariah was playing the Los Angeles gay. So, and this is very confusing because LA has two gay prides, because there's the LA City one and the West Hollywood one.
So many. Yeah.
Gay. And I historically have had a complicated relationship with Pride. When I was with my ex, I was dealing with some internalized homophobia that I was trying to shed, and I famously said, I don't like Pride, and he famously said, that's because you don't have any pride, and I was shut up. So, but it really comes down to, I get overwhelmed by crowds. When I'm in it, when like the idea of festivals for me, I'm like, I'm supposed to be up there. I'm supposed to be in the the talent section. Like and it's not because I think I'm better than everybody. It's just like again, going back to like, I'm in the wrong seat, and I hate feeling like cattle, like I'm being herded, like I'm part of a thing. So, but it was Mariah doing LA Pride in the park. It was 2023, and it was very much we got to do this. We got to do this. And Palmer was jazzed about it, and he was like sort of rounding up the people. And so it was Palmer, his partner Jackson, you and your partner, and who else was there?
I think it was just you, wasn't it? I hope we're
not and then Rory.
Yeah, and then Rory. But
I tend to behave like it's me. It's a bunch of couples, and I'm their dog.
That's what it was.
And for many reasons, because I do sort of walk behind and sort of like, it's like I'm just I feel like I'm the labrador of the group.
It's so funny you mention that, because I distinctly remember like the four of us were like watching or whatever, and then we would be like, "Where's Rory?" And then we'd turn, and we would just see you like staring up at Mariah. Like from wherever you were just like kind of like in awe of her, or you'd be like holding your mouth and just kind of smiling.
Okay,
it was so cute. It was so cute, puppy.
Well, because you mentioned that, so knowing that like the situation was out of my comfort zone, because it wasn't going to be like a normal going to a show experience in like a controlled environment. Like, it was an outdoor experience. It was a long day. It was a lot of things where I was like, only for Mariah would I do this.
Absolutely.
So I dug in on the edibles, is what you might have been picking up on.
I had no idea. I was just like, wow, Rory's really chill. I love that that's our first interaction too. Just like,
well, okay, and I love that you didn't judge me for it, because so this is great context, because it's like I'm there. I feel safe with the group that we're in. I'm there for Mariah, but I'm also like uncomfortable in crowds, and I'm uncomfortable, and I'm on edibles, and I was wearing shoes that had like the slightest platform to them. So this is relevant because they were cute, but like I wasn't used to, like we were on grass.
Ground. Yes, and it was muddy. It was muddy. Yes.
So one part that I got really stressed out about was when, as a group, because it was sort of like we had to decide to go to the bathroom as a group.
That's right.
because it was like, it was a to-do, and it was like, this was our shot, and I really fucking hate a porta potty. It's upsetting for me. Like, a general normal airport bathroom is upsetting to me. Mm-hmm. So we start to go to the bathrooms. I'm several edibles in, and then I remember feeling like, you know, when you're in a crowd and like you don't really have control of the motion anymore, like you're sort of, and I remember feeling that starting to happen, and I ducked out. You guys continued to go to the bathroom, which was probably the correct decision, and I didn't pee at all, because I was like, I like freaked out. Like, I was like, oh my God, like I just didn't, like I had to like extricate myself from the situation. So that entire day I did not pee. And then we go back to like where we were situated. We had a great situation.
Yeah.
Mariah comes out, she's great. But something that Palmer and I laugh about all the time is that I kept, because of the shoe platform and the edibles, I kept falling on the man next to me. And luckily it wasn't you guys, but unluckily for him, it was somebody I didn't know. And like I fell on this gentleman. I want to say 3 to 4 times minimum.
Oh my
And
God.
Palmer at one point was like, "How times like how?" And it was and that was your first meeting of me. I think that's so on point.
I just thought you were swooning the whole time. I thought you were just like, oh, Mariah, oh.
You know what it is though? I am a very chill high person. I am such a stoner that people usually can't tell, but that was the situation. And then do you remember how we this was when I realized that Palmer's boo Jackson is so good at logistics. We took the train and we got out like ahead of the crowd. Like, because when you're in a situation like that, at least me, all I'm thinking is like, oh, it's going to take us 3 hours to get out of here.
That's exactly why I did not want to go in the first place too, because of that. Yep, but continue. Mm-hmm.
But it ended up being like such a like win of an experience because first of all, she was really great. And I think, you know, I've seen Mariah a lot, and usually in like typical tour scenarios, but also like tape it. Like I've seen her in different contexts live, and I gotta say, her and the gays, the love was it. Like I could cry.
And
You know what I mean?
You could tell she was having so much fun too. She's like, hey.
Well, she feel it was reciprocated,
Yes.
the love.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And like there were just little moments where she was like, "Baby, hold up your flag." Like just realizing in so many ways that she helped me accept myself and like her, you know, like we were with thousands of people who had an emotional connection to this woman in terms of their own identity, and that was like, did you feel that in that moment?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, you could tell. I mean, she means so much to so many people, and she's the perfect amount, and especially in a pride situation, I feel like she's the perfect amount of camp and like class, if that makes sense. She's like, I'm gonna bring the classy to it, but then here's a little camp. Remember, she played the drag queens like fighting over her, the Church of Mariah. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And then I feel like she did no context because like from Drag Race, the show, that was the one where all 6 of them had to lip sync because RuPaul got so angry they besmirched Mariah Carey's name. You know, in that, so they're like, you all have to lip sync. But she used the footage for her concert.
Oh, brilliant.
But there was also something that I remember loving about that is so my partner is, you know, Mariah Carey stan, like hardcore, like loves. I actually have a question for you from them. But but I remember because one of my favorite Mariah songs is Touch My Body. I love that song. And they were always kind of like, nah, it's all right, you know, like it's like good, but whatever. And I don't know if you remember, but they played that, and everyone in the entire audience was like singing along and like screaming the lyrics, like having so much fun. And I was like, see? And they were like, oh, I didn't realize that Touch My Body was such a fan favorite. I'm like, oh, yes, it is.
Touch My Body has had it's one of, I mean, there's a whole collection of Mariah songs that have had big lives subsequent to their release. And she has had so many songs that have gone viral on TikTok and stuff like that. Yeah. Do you know the Matt Palmer Touch My Body story?
No. What's the Matt Palmer Touch My Body?
Palmer met one, I don't know if it was the only time you met Mariah, but it was one of the times you met Mariah, and she was doing to promote Touch My Body, she was doing a live event for MTV's The Hills, and Palmer attended it, and he had a moment to speak to her, and Palmer, famous for saying words all the time, didn't have words and said, I like your new song. Like, that was his moment, and that's what he said. But Touch My Body, our argument was always, he always thought Touch My Body was better than Obsessed. He always underappreciated Obsessed. And Obsessed came out when I was in the middle of college and in New York City, and it was like, it just felt like summer to me, and I was like, Obsessed just was like so current. But it's really interesting. I think both of those songs have had longer lives. So were you into Mariah on your own, or was it through being with your partner? Okay.
Joy, but Rudy, partner, was very number one.
The Mariah.
So okay, and I didn't realize because growing up, I wasn't really allowed to, because we were very conservative Christian, and so wasn't really allowed to listen to the radio or anything.
Oh, no secular music.
No secular music, and so then coming into, but then starting to learn and I'm like, Oh, I feel like I've heard these. You know, like I knew the songs and knew the melodies, but didn't actually connect it. And I'm like, oh, this is great. Loved it. Loved it.
I did not know this about you
Yeah.
because also are people surprised? I don't know why everyone would assume that everyone from the Bay is like hanging out at the Castro and
sure.
like
No. Yeah.
it's super liberal central. But like is faith still a big part of your life?
I'd say spirituality, but not so much faith, because I moved on to more Buddhist, more Zen, more like uh, connecting with the earth kind of thing. Do believe
Yeah.
there's something bigger out there, but necessarily I think that's different for every single person. So
See, this is
I
the
know.
thing is that this is not something that when I was on edibles at Mariah in the park we would have
You'd
talked
be able to
about.
talk-
You know
no,
what
we
I mean?
couldn't.
Like,
No. Yeah.
oh, tell me about your faith journey.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I wouldn't have wanted you to have to talk to me about that then. But okay, so that was so I think we're both saying I feel like that was a slam dunk of an experience, Mariah in the
It was
park.
great, and it was I think,
And
one of
that
the
was when I
first
met you
times.
guys. And I felt like and maybe this was the edibles, but I felt like you guys, I immediately was like, oh, like we're already friends.
Absolutely,
You know what I
that's
mean?
exactly. Yeah, I feel like when you experience a Mariah moment, you're automatically friends with everyone around you. We were singing.
It's that, but it's also like sometimes there are certain people who like I trust their vetting process of their friends, so it's easier to become friends with their friends. Not everyone do I feel that way.
That is a very good point. That is a very good point.
So then, flash forward to last year. It's
Okay.
Palmer's birthday, and he puts on, Jackson really puts on the Traitors themed birthday party. And I have to say, I have not been to a birthday party as elaborately late. We were playing for hours. And people had real emotions about it.
Yes.
And what was so funny about it was I had never seen Traitors. I was just there because it was Matt's birthday. You hadn't either.
I had to do like a crash course. It was like, what is this show? What is happening? And then, yeah. But it was fun. But you're right.
It was so fun. No, I mean, for me, and this is why the show is called I'm super excited, is I think people are always at their best when they're talking about what they love, what they're just like nerdy about, what they're just like it doesn't need to be the same thing that I'm into, because it's like an energy. And it's also like, introduce me to your like cool thing.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously like Traitors is having has been having a cultural moment. Like I understand that like I am in the minority for like not understanding.
Well, have you seen it since? Like, because I've seen it since and love it now. Like, I think it's so.
Well,
much fun.
I haven't watched it, but and we're going to talk about the comeback next. But I loved that Valerie Cherish was on.
Absolutely.
And so, I was so appreciative that I had the Matt Palmer birthday party experience to understand the idea of Valerie Cherish, why Valerie Cherish being on Traitors would be perfect.
Yes.
Well, stressful.
Oh, yeah. Well, all right. Yeah.
Stressful. Well, I'm not a traitor.
Yeah.
So the detail I loved was all of our headshots pasted on the wall. It was really elaborate. We're playing for hours. People have emotions. I end up winning, which was so. One of my favorite things about Palmer is we've never been in an argument. We have such a great friendship, but I really am good at aggravating him, and I knew that would totally aggravate him. And we have decided that it was all because I didn't really understand that I won.
100%. 100. Well, also because I feel all night long, like you would just be passed over because were you on edibles that night too, or no?
I don't think so, but I was having cocktails. I was very blasé.
That's exactly what it was, because you were just walking around. You're like, yeah, and your tank top, and just kind of walking around, being like, yeah, I don't know, and everyone's just like, oh, Rory can't be a traitor. Come on.
I was not taken seriously at all.
That's exactly what it was. No one took you in the best way possible. No one took you seriously.
Yeah.
And so when it happened at the end, I feel like there's photos of the entire room, like what was it, like 28 people, just with their mouths wide open in shock. What?
And I think the video of me, it was announced when I won. Palmer, I think Palmer said that's really annoying. Like I could tell he was annoyed, and then I caused further scandal, which we can talk about after we stop recording. But I wreaked havoc that night.
Wait, what do you mean? Like after that? After you won?
Well, I thought everybody knew, but yeah, there was other stuff that happened after. Winning the game was scratching the surface of the scandal I caused that night. We'll get into it. But But anyway,
Ooh.
it was a delight, and I did learn something from it, which was comedy is like this too. When you play loose, good things could happen. You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
if I had been I don't win things that I'm emotionally invested in.
Well, see, yes, and that's how I feel like that's how Steele got himself a suspect because he was so sure that certain people were, like worth, and so he got everyone on board. And when that person was not a traitor, then everyone's like, "Well, it's on you, Steele. It's on you."
Well, it's funny that you say that because something that played out on the subsequent episode of Two Gay Mats right after that party was the gay Mats arguing with each other because Steele was suggesting that Palmer was protecting me, and I laughed about it because Steele had correctly suggested that I might have been a traitor, and Palmer brushed it off, and so Steele was like, oh, like, and Palmer and I laughed. I was like, you're a good friend, but you would absolutely sell me out in a game. Like I was like, you would never protect me. He was like, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
And so that was such a joy. And then I won prizes, which was funny.
A lot
So
of prizes. Yes, I remember the whole kit and caboodle. Yep.
But I thought that was a very fun, unexpected experience, and then and it was also like the emotional fallout. Like it was funny that Palmer was like checking in on.
Well, people were. I mean, people like cry. Like were very
Okay,
upset.
yeah,
people were crying. People were upset.
Which
people
I'm
felt
sure made
betrayed.
my energy that much more infuriating to
He's
them.
like, I don't know what this game is. Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know.
Well, but so you and I have had these like group these very specific group
Yeah.
experiences, and we follow each other on socials, and it was through that I realized that we have a shared love of the television series The Comeback.
Absolutely.
And I asked you to come on. I would have loved to have you on the podcast any week, but I'm really happy that you're on this week because the series, and it's hard for me to say that because the series finale just aired. But when when the first season aired and it was so brilliant and then it wasn't renewed, like there has never been a moment where it was like guaranteed that there would be more of The Comeback. And so when it was announced that over 10 years after the second season that it would be coming back for the third season that's just aired this year, last year I remember I was in a euphoric state of like what I imagine mania is like, if for those who experience it, because I was like, because the world is shit. Like everything's crazy. I just remember waking up to that video that Lisa Kudrow and HBO posted, that teaser, and I was like, we get to have good news.
Yeah.
And that it was Valerie Cherish was coming back, and that this season would tackle Valerie Cherish being on the first series written by AI. And so I wanted to ask you. So obviously this is a shared. And you when the finale aired and I was in Seattle, you messaged me and you were like, "Have you watched it yet?" And I was like, it was awful because like I knew I had to wait until when you don't want to watch something until you have like the bandwidth to do
Yes.
like this was important viewing to me, but I like ended up watching it a few days later, which was difficult. And it was interesting because this show has meant it's my I call it my favorite. It's my favorite show of all time.
Wow. Okay.
I think like the Comeback and 30 Rock are probably like that's what I would.
We connect exactly. Yep.
And so I'll just tell you, I remember watching The Comeback when it originally aired and being well, of course I'm going to watch Lisa Kudrow's new show because she always made the most interesting extracurricular choices of the Friends cast. Romy and Michelle and Clockwatchers, and because she was no shade to any of them because they're all brilliant, but like she and Conan used to date when they did improv together. She was from real deal comedy, so I was like, oh, she just was. To me, I think of her as a comedian and not like more than an actor. Although
Absolutely.
the acting is amazing,
Yeah.
and so when. I just remember thinking it was like the summer after junior year of high school, and I just remember thinking, oh, this is way more for me than Friends, The Comeback, But also it's that classic thing where, how gay kids are like born 40? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like of
Yeah,
course I would identify
references.
with this middle-aged washed-up actress
Yeah.
when I was 17.
Well, she's talked about that too since, about how like the gay audiences are connecting so inherently to Valerie, which is amazing.
You know what? Sometimes it can be cringe when straight white women especially talk about why gay men like them. But like the way that Lisa Kudrow does it is like, oh no, you actually get it completely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That thing of like the way that she describes it is like get along to go along, get along to go along. Like, well, oh, is that the if I just have to do a couple of humiliating things and then I get what I want? Okay,
Sure. Exactly.
sure.
Yeah.
And then in her fucking like the tenacity of Valerie Cherish is like one of the biggest takeaways. Well, that's all because it is denial, but it's also like, well, okay, I'm fine. Yeah, like and that is something that does get addressed in the finale, and I want to read that quote later. Is like, well, she says you have to sign up to be humiliated. I didn't feel humiliated. When did you discover the comeback?
I discovered it actually. I want to say when it came out, like when it officially.
Okay, so like me. Oh shit.
Yeah, like live in real time watching it, and I had was it in
2005.
2005. Then that's not true. I lied. It was when I first moved to LA that I figured this out. So it was probably 2009-ish that I picked it up and was like rewatching it. They must have been re-airing it on HBO or something.
Well, here's how I believe it happened, because when it originally aired, I was like, well, she's one of the most famous people. Why isn't everybody watching this? This is the most brilliant thing. Why isn't everybody watching this? And it was that thing of like, why am I the only person who sees how brilliant this is? And then two things happened. Gay people, like, you couldn't be gay and not hear about it between like 2005 and 2010. And then after that was social media and clips, and people saw. And that's how I believe the second season happened in 2014, was every gay person knew about it, and then people were finding it on social media.
Sure.
And so it's interesting because like even though there were these decades in between each season, Valerie never left my life because she was always in my head. You know, like whenever somebody would do something really aggravating where I wanted to let them know that it bothered me, but I also wanted to let them know that I was being cool about it. Well, that's all right, dear. You'll get it. Yeah. Oh, that's all right. Yeah. And like she became like to this day, like I fall into Valerie voice all the time. So you had, by the time the second season aired, you were already well versed and on board.
On board, and I think it is because we talked about this a little bit, but like for me, wanting to be involved as an actor and performer in sitcoms, like that's all I wanted to do ever since like I had first seen like I Love Lucy. Like Third Rock from the Sun when I was growing up was one of my favorite sitcoms, and then like watching like Andy Griffith and Bewitched and like Golden Girls, Roseanne, like so many different sitcoms. I really, really connected with sitcoms. And so moving to LA, and then when things started to like shift to reality post writer's strike, that first writer's strike, reality kind of took over. It meant so much to me as I think a performer that was like trying to make it as a sitcom star, and then seeing like how sitcoms, the behind the scenes of a sitcom and how real and authentic they were representing it. It was very uncomfortable to watch, like cringe watching, because you're like, I know these people, I know that writer, I know that actress. When you see like, I've been lucky to work on a couple of sitcoms, and they did it so authentically well that you're just like, gosh, this is so. It really was like peeling back a layer of Hollywood to see how a sitcom really worked. With Valerie, of course, you know, but yeah.
And well, it's so funny because I think that, and Lisa's talked about this too, but like the people when it first aired, I think Lisa and Michael Patrick King were like, because they had both come off of Friends and Sex and the City, they were like, oh, people are expecting Phoebe and Manolos,
right.
And what it was something that I think gay people are so much more used to, which is like, it's dark humor. You know what I mean? It's like, so I never found it like tough to watch or difficult. I was like, yeah, that's how it goes. But like she says, like I was one of those gay people that was like, oh yeah, well, but then she wins, right? Yeah. And I mean, each season of the show has commented on the state of the industry at the time. But we have a protagonist who is gonna figure it out regardless. And I find her so inspiring. And there are so many human moments that Valerie has. Wait a second. But when we were texting about doing this podcast, you said you had an Oscar as a doorstop.
I do have an Oscar as a doorstop. Yeah.
How tell us tell us that.
Oh, Jane, can you bring me the
Jane,
Can you bring me the?
I'm taking pictures with your Oscar.
It's like, oh, we have it right here.
That looks heavy.
It is. It's an Oscar. Yeah.
It's a real fucking Oscar?
No, it's not a real Oscar, but it is like it's like made two dimensions.
It looks real. Like if you had told me you had won like best documentary short, I would be like, "What?"
Jane, did you
Jane,
did you get it?
you're doing it perfectly.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite Valerie. One of my favorite Valerie and Jane moments is when so Jane has won an Oscar. Valerie can't believe it, and she's taking pictures, and she goes, Jane, taking pictures with your Oscar, and then Jane goes, I know, I'm right in the room.
So good, so good, so good.
I've said this on the podcast before, but my all-time favorite Valerie line comes from a DVD extra from the first season. That's how gay I am. A DVD extra from the first season. And this is a great example of where social media spread this, because who has the comeback season 1 DVD except me? And Valerie's, so it's the whole interview is about, well, what I've been up to since room and board. And well, she goes, well, I've had some exciting new career offers. I was recently offered a made-for-TV movie about a woman who gets raped by her entire family and entire town. Which, again, like, most people will be like, what the fuck? And gay people are like, that's hilarious.
Exactly. Amazing.
And she says, would have been a nice dramatic turn, but, well, it's shot in Nova Scotia, so, get raped all day, no place nice to have dinner. Can't.
It's so good.
So, in my mind, rent-free, get raped all day, no place nice to have dinner. Can't. Do you have an all-timer Valerie quote?
Oh my gosh, that's
or just one that sticks out in your mind?
Oh God, gosh. I mean, I quote "Well, I got it" all the time, but I feel like that's not just like inherently in the everyone just.
But it also can coincide with like great achievements. So why wouldn't you use it?
Well, I got it. Yeah, I just remember watching that for the first time. Because when I watched it, I think it was recommended by I was living with my very dear friend Adam, and he was seeing someone at the time who brought it to us and was like, "Have you guys seen The Comeback?" And we're like, "No." And I remember sitting there and watching it, and Adam hated it. And I was cackling. Now we both love it, but I think at the time he didn't understand what was happening.
Get it yet.
Yeah, and I was just like, "This is hilarious." So he's just like, "Well, I got it." It was so good. I'm trying to.
Can you sound more excited? No, Jane, I'm done.
Exactly. No, it's so.
Didn't you love the callback in the final scene of the finale when Valerie asks Jane, do you have what you need? And Jane's like, yeah. Valerie's like, need you to sound more excited, Jane.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Callback.
But this was the quote, and I mean, it was well. So you're describing one of the most famous sequences in the first season where Valerie is on camera being interviewed by Jane, and that is how they closed the series. And I do understand, it's like, because people are like, why would you say it's why say it's the final one? But there is something super artistic about the arc and how they closed it. And I do believe she's wearing the same color blouse as she was.
That's exactly, Rory. When I saw that, as soon as they started, and I think that's why they did it in black and white. And that's something I love, too, because I feel, and I'm going to divert for a second, but when they started that thing in the black and white, and they were back to the Bolex film camera that Jane was using, and it started with her in the 4x3, which was like the I Love Lucy format, and then it started widening out, and then you see the color gradients change to the 60s, like Bewitched, to the 70s, like, Three's Company. They actually, I feel like they were doing that in cinematography to show, like, how important sitcoms have been for the culture since the beginning of time. Since the birth of sitcoms, because I really do feel like culturally people have learned so much from sitcoms. Like Family Matters as a kid was one of the ones that sticks in my mind that I loved. But you learn so much about. It teaches you life lessons in a little like 30-minute, 30-minute. You get like a stage show that's teaching you little lessons and like how to interact socially. I'm going off on a tangent, but
no, this is amazing.
And then they open it up, and then you see those colors. I was like, she's wearing the same color palette as she did in that very first shot that we saw in the raw footage of The Comeback Season 1. And they're bringing it full circle. and they say, and wasn't it? It was fun, wasn't it? He's like had a lot of fun. I was like, oh, I know.
Well, I know, I love that. And I just want to plug really quickly because you're talking about the power of sitcoms.
Mm,
My friend, comedian Holly Brown, has a podcast called Everybody Knows But Me.
mm,
And it's about how her dad she grew up with a dad who worked on sitcoms. He worked on
mm.
Frasier and all these things. And she was one of those kids who grew up like you're describing on sitcoms, wanting to have a sitcom family life. And the podcast gets into her dad's alcoholism and dying of cancer and her mom's pill addiction, and just sort of like it's a beautiful podcast because it really mirrors like sitcom tropes with what she was dealing with and how a sitcom would tackle these things. You know how sitcoms could also they would dip into traumatic events and then it would be solved by like the famous Saved by the Bell, like she had a caffeine pill addiction
Yeah.
and then we fixed it and then it's all buttoned up at the end. But yes, I think that you're so right that people have really and less so in the last few years due to the swings of the industry, but like particularly as we were growing up, such a touchstone for the main. It was also what everybody was watching. The
Hmm.
same thing, you
Right.
know.
Well, and then so because
Um,
everyone was able. Have you hearing your friend's podcast? Have you heard of Kevin Can Fuck Himself? Like that sitcom show with Annie Murphy from Schitt's Creek. It's pretty much
no.
it's amazingly done. So it starts as a sitcom where it's like a sitcom, and she's like, ah, and the husband's like, hey, you need to look better, and like stuff like that. And then she leaves the room, and then it cuts to a single camera drama, and you're like realizing, oh, she's really not. She's using the sitcom to kind of mask the really hard things that are
Oh, that's
happening in her life.
fascinating.
It's amazingly done, and I highly recommend it. That
What's
also
it called
ties.
again?
Kevin Can Fuck Himself. It's great.
Great title.
Yeah, and then but it's really really fun and done, and then it reminds me of WandaVision too, where like that whole anyway. But we keep going, keep going. I'll go off on a
No,
tangent.
that's amazing. I just wanted to read the one of the final lines that
Yes.
Valerie says in the final episode of the comeback was, "I think you need to have. I think you have to agree to be humiliated." And I know what you know. What, let me do it in Valerie voice.
Yeah, I was please do.
Well, I think you have to agree to be humiliated. I never signed up for it. You know, I just did the best with what I was given, right? And isn't that what being a human being is, though? You just make the best of things. Otherwise, you're just left behind, miserable all the time. And I gotta say, like, Lisa talks about like when she first started playing Valerie Scherer, she was making fun of this woman,
I was going to bring that up. Yes,
and
yes.
then she came to really admire her. Like, and Lisa will give the example, like, you know, if you say to Valerie Cherish, like, oh, you get the role of your dreams, you just have to walk across those hot coals. Well, you know, tread lightly, you know, get there, you know, get a pedicure later. That'll be fine. And it's like, comedians, um, it's different than what actors go through because I do think that actors are given a lot more dignity than comedians. Like comedians are constantly reminded, like you know, it's like, oh, okay, so I'm doing this show in front of 5 drunks at a bar. Like it's just like there are so many situations where you're like, oh, that's right, I'm not shit. But I always think of Valerie Cherish. Well, you know, gotta test the jokes. You know, every opinion matters, and it's really informed like a humility that I take to my career because it's also a larger. It's to me, I feel like Valerie Cherish may not handle the micro like that great all the time because she's focused on the bigger picture of like, well, you know, got to get to that thing, and then one of my favorite running joke, actually, my favorite running joke from the latest season is Mrs. Hat.
Sure.
The
Yeah,
Murder
yeah,
She Wrote like show that Valerie did that nobody watched. Well, people would have liked it if they knew where to find it.
yeah. Right.
You know, they forgot about Mrs. Hat again. You know, remember?
Okay, is it
Mrs. Hat?
Mrs. Hat? And then the very last episode, and Mrs.
They
Hat, she's like,
remembered.
oh, they remembered. Yeah, exactly. Oh.
And the look of joy on Valerie's face, it's like she'll take, and I've said that, like I say this all the time, like that I can take a 3,000, I can take 2,999 no's to get one yes,
Yeah.
which is, you can say that, and then when it happens, you're like, all right, this sucks. But I did, like, it's true, and that's Valerie sort of embodying that. She can just get pummeled,
Yeah.
but then if she wins, got it, there it is. Okay, I have a question for you. How do you feel about her husband, Mark?
I think that the season finale of episode or season two's finale is one of the best episodes of television ever, and that's kind of how I sum up their relationship with Mark. I think that I think showing the conflict that they had, because you could tell, like, at the season one, he's just like, "Hey, Valerie," like he's just there to support her. But then throughout season two, when he starts saying things like, "No one believed in you. I was there when no one believed in you." Do you remember this scene? She's just like, "Well,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
believed in
when
you,
they
Mark.
fight on Sunset Boulevard outside the restaurant?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believed
Yeah.
in me, Mark. That's not nice." Oh God.
And we find out he had an affair and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and then
But, so I had a journey with Mark because, and this actually probably says a lot about like my understanding of what a good partner is that like
yeah.
in the first season I was like, he's kind of lame and boring. Like he's kind of lame and boring and not into it. Like, and then how about how Kellen Lutz wants to fuck Valerie?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
that, oh my God, that's another great Valerie quote, is when he's trying to, Kellen Lutz has starred with her on a sitcom. He's reunited with her since he's become a superstar. She's estranged from her husband, and Kellen Lutz is literally trying to fuck her. And he says, and she's like, well, this is where I live with my husband. And he says, well, I can come around the back door. And Valerie says, well, I don't do backdoor, so that's a real letdown.
Oh,
And I'm like, Valerie Cherish doing butt sex jokes. Like, that also in season 2 is when a fan comes up to her and says, on 3, say old woman's pussy. Well, not going to say that. So and then that season 2 was also when, remember there was the scene where she had to stand with 2 fully nude women?
Yes, exactly. She's like, have you got it? Have you got it? She's like,
And she's in a tracksuit standing with women at least 20 years younger than her who are full frontal nude.
Yeah.
I love when they put Valerie in situations that like sexual situations that she just wouldn't make her comfortable. But anyway,
she does the thing. She's just like, it's so nice to be working with some other women on set today.
I believe one of the episodes of that season is her pretending to give head to Seth Rogen, but she's just below frame, so she's just hanging out in his lap.
And that's one of my favorite. See, that's something. Watching from like the performer's perspective, like you can tell how uncomfortable she was in that, and then seeing Seth Rogen recognize that in the scene and just be like, I don't really need to do this, because like Pauly G was just doing it to kind of be a dick to her,
right?
But so it was just like, oh, and then he's just, I got you, ginger snaps, and you're just like, oh,
that is a super cute moment. Whenever somebody takes care of Valerie,
it's so she's feeling,
and you see it when Jane goes on TV,
yes,
and defends her, and you're like, and I commented like, we love Jane, and Laura Silverman liked it, like it was just such a cute, like, because I want her to feel like appreciated. But then also, who really impressed me was, so when I found out that Ella Stiller was going to be in season 3, I was like, oh, another Nepo baby getting an HBO show, because I wanted to be in season 3. Ella Stiller, she has her mama's likability. Christine Taylor, I have always thought to be like, she has Ben Stiller's a comedic genius, but like I've always thought, when I was a kid, I had a huge crush on Christine Taylor as Marsha Brady.
I love it.
I was like, that's who I'm gonna marry. And Ella Stiller came into the comeback, and she's in her mid-20s, but she's like, I've been a fan of the comeback since the comeback's been on. She was like, she's like, I'm just lucky to be here. And I loved that, like, her character wasn't making fun of Valerie. She was sort of like there's that great scene when Valerie's on the red carpet, like amidst taking horrible heat for everything that's controversial, and Ella Stiller's character says to Jane, wow, she doesn't look nervous. And Jane goes, yeah, she's a pro.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, they respect her.
Win. I know, exactly. You're just like, yeah, exactly. Dang, this is a really short carpet.
As far as finales go, how'd you feel?
I really enjoyed it. I know that some people, it was kind of mixed online, or like reviews were kind of mixed about how it ended, but I loved it. I thought it was just like a really, because I truly think that like people get into this industry because at some point or another they've loved it, and they just want to have fun, and they just want to do something fun. And so wrapping it up with like this was fun, and then her walking off into the sunset, and then having those little like blurbs like a normal documentary, like Pauly G did this, and then Mark did that. I liked it. How about you? Were you a fan?
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, I get really, I don't like to read other people's opinions about things that I like. I've always, like, I feel that way about like Mariah albums and all these things. I used to get in, Palmer would laugh, like I used to get in fights on Mariah message boards about like there would be fans who would spend their lives on Mariah message boards to complain about Mariah stuff. And I'm like, what is the point of that? Like, I come from the fandom of like, if I'm not into it, I just won't be there. You know what I mean? And so like I would read and there are wonderful writers for Vox and all of those like outlets where it's like you can get like I kind of read the recaps to like remember what happened.
Yeah.
Like because when it gets into like we didn't get enough of this or like I think there's an art to media criticism, but like I have also always been acutely aware of like, well, what the fuck did you make? You know what I mean? Like, and ultimately, the more that I mean, and every beloved show has had a controversial series finale because the expectations are just impossible. It happened to Seinfeld. It happened to The Sopranos. You know what I mean? It's like everyone's mad, and some finales are better than others. But I think ultimately what happened here was. The crux of the season was about she's on this show written by AI and it's sort of like a crash and burn situation, but she has done really good work and deserves to have a platform where she's successful. And then, spoiler alert, but like for her to be like, fine, that dumb thing can have AI Valerie while I go do something created by with prestige where I'm respected. I feel like as a fan, I'm happy to see Valerie. Like, if this is the last we get to see her, like, that's a happy ending to me.
Absolutely.
In the way that you were describing the season 2 finale, where, wow, and yes, so going back to Mark, like, at first I was very unenthused by him and his energy, but, like, I saw in the season 2 finale, like, oh, wait, she has a good marriage, and that they both prioritize. Mm-hmm. And I was listening to the companion podcast of like, there's all these fan podcasts of the comeback. And Damian Young, who plays Mark, was on, and he was like, Mark really likes Valerie. Like, Mark thinks Valerie is hot shit. Yeah. And Lisa said, she was like, it was very important to them when it was this, sitcom star trying to make a comeback and being so desperate that they said two things. She's not in it for the money, and she has a husband who loves her and thinks she's hot.
Yeah. And
I think that really is an important part of it because if it had been a financial thing, that's a completely different motivation. Mm-hmm. And if it had been this woman's like hates herself and has no love at home, that would have been a different situation.
Absolutely.
But her husband does love her.
Yeah. And I love that's something, and that's maybe what I recognized in Mark throughout the thing. Because like whenever she would say things like, "Oh, well, we're going to be going to the Golden Globe," he's like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." Like it's a world that he doesn't really understand.
Yes.
And that's something in the third season. I was like, "Oh, he's getting to experience the world that he doesn't understand, and he doesn't like it. His reality.
He doesn't fit in either. Yeah.
And he's just like, I hate doing this. I'm doing this for you. And she's like, well, I was doing this for you. So they both came from a place of love, and they were like they're like, no, I'm doing this for. And they realize that, and he's like, can I just not do this anymore? Let me go to Burning Man and be silly, And she's just like, oh, all right, if you need to, go and do
62-year-old man with a new tattoo. That's all right, yeah.
All right. It's like, well.
But I thought it was really sweet too that like in this season Mark is in crisis and Valerie has a lot going on, but it's sweet to see her like take that on too. You know what I mean? Like Mark is her person, and like anyone who is attracted to men understands what it's like when. They come home drunk and want to fuck, and you're like, well, working, Mark. Yeah. Like, I love that scene.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I also love that he's all over her. You know what I mean? Like,
gotta get the, I'll get the, what is it? That made me laugh so hard. The lotion, what's the lotion brand that they're doing?
Oh, yeah. It's like lube, basically.
Yeah,
it's just
like, oh, let me get the Aveeno.
I also love that clip.
Whatever it was.
That's also so true to her character, which is like, there is a side of Valerie Cherish who's like, well, I guess we're fucking tonight. You know what I mean? Like, well, let's get this done.
Okay,
yeah.
I guess so.
Well, made him, finished fast.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, can read lines. That's good. So is there, this has been so much fun.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
Is there anything you want to plug or promote before we go?
I guess just I want to do this comeback thing. This should be like a Patreon exclusive for you because I have so many quotes that I want to ask you about if you can recognize which season they're from. But it'll take.
Good, let's do it.
No,
let's
are you
absolutely
sure? It'll take too long.
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Really quick.
I'm good.
Okay. Well, then I'll do them for you because I was going to have us both do it, but I'm going to do. Okay. See if you could. Okay, which season is this from? And I'll try and do it. Imagine I'm okay. And no one ever says, "Hey, Gigi, you want to get a drink after?" Oh, well, they're all underage. The PLLs, right? Imagine we're in a Whole Foods with Mickey.
I feel like is this sort of a trick question because Gigi is a character in season 1, but we see her again in season 2, and I believe it's in a Whole Foods, so I'm going to go with season 2.
You got it. That's it. Yep, exactly.
My favorite Gigi related line is when Valerie invites Gigi to the award show instead of taking Mark, and Mark's mad. And this is a line that would not fly now, but this is a 2005 line, which is Valerie says, "Well, Mark, she's fat and has no friends." I got a big laugh out of you.
I love it. No, just because I remember distinctly. Season 1 was a little like watching it back. You're like,
it's 20 years ago. It's 20 years ago. That's what it is.
This is actually one of my favorite scenes from the entire comeback series. I'll just don't ask for my autograph anymore. Right? I know that you're not a fan. That's okay. And I know that you are not a fan.
Okay, I know the quote vividly. But I'm having a hard time placing it.
Imagine my hands covered in flour. My hands are covered in flour, and we're in the desert.
Well, if we're in the this is when she stands up for herself on set of Seeing Red when she's in the trunk with the snake and all that shit.
That's it. Yep, she's making a beef rollatini for her
husband.
Yes,
making dinner for my husband.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, no pages, Mark. There's no pages. There's no pages. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I love all of and actually this happens with the scene with Benito Skinner in season 3.
Oh.
Very satisfying moment. In season 1, Valerie doesn't really stand up for herself much at all until she punches Paula G.
Which is
season 2.
Yes.
There's that moment that you're describing, which was a great episode, and then season 3, this with Benito Skinner, she handles it really well, which is like, no, I'm not. This isn't an ego conversation. This is I'm the executive producer conversation, and you're not. This is for how we're going to serve the show, and he's the idiot, and it's so satisfying to see her like handle it really well.
And then when she walks away, she's like, and then Jane's like, I really liked seeing you like that. You're handling this really well. She then Valerie second guesses herself, and she's like,
yes,
all right, I guess I'll go try some things on. It's like, no, you did a great job. Like it was,
yes.
It was so good. But then she has that self-doubt coming. Okay, I don't want to do too many of these.
I love this game.
Okay.
I win games. You know this.
Okay. Well, he is a cocksucker. And then she looks up at the camera. Mark, we can't say cocksucker because I had Tyler put back the ceiling cam.
That is season 2 because season 2 features Mark's nephew Tyler.
Love.
Which is a very funny. Did you ever imagine, like, for a lot of people, the idea that Mickey wouldn't be in season 3 and how that could happen? I know that for Lisa, for a couple of years, she couldn't imagine doing it. And the fact that his illness was written into the second season, like that he was actually sick at the time, really is intense and beautiful, you know?
Oh, gosh, that relationship is so amazing. I'll just do one or two.
Don't you love the scene when she thinks he's dead, but he's just with a hooker?
Oh, gosh, it's so funny. And then what is it? And then Tyler's like, awesome. Because he comes
speaking of putting Valerie with naked people, well, touched it. That's all right. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, my gosh.
You can't show my dick on camera.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, it's so good.
Well, I'm naked, Red.
That's right. Oh, so good. Okay.
Well, cover up there.
I'll do two more.
Okay.
I learned a lot today from a little lady named Charla. I learned that
season 1.
Yeah, I was going to do the whole thing. I love it.
Incredible. No, you can.
No, but she goes, I learned that dignity comes in all sizes. Some struggles are more obvious. Some are more internal. Some people see Charla at a dry cleaner and say, how is she going to reach that? Some people see Valerie cherish his dream and think, how is she going to reach that? So funny. Charla's a little
personal
person.
video diaries are so.
Person. I know.
The personal video diaries, because I know that the Valerie Cherish character originated when Lisa was in Groundlings and was doing what she called your favorite actress on a talk show, and it's that thing that actors go into when it's like they're convincing themselves that they're like so altruistic. Well, you know. That's why I also love when Valerie clearly gets ditched by the entire cast who are going to dinner without her.
Oh,
Cut to her in a bath. Well, it was nice to
that's
stay
it's
in,
like
find my center,
yeah.
which was like basically every Friday night of high school for me.
Oh,
Well, it was
it
nice
was
to
great.
stay in.
Yeah, it's like I'm
It
just
was
a
my
homebody.
choice.
Yeah, I'm just a homebody. You know, it's great. Oh, that's so funny. Well, this has been so much fun. We could come back all day.
Thank you. No,
Come back all day.
this has been one of my favorite episodes we've ever done with the
Oh,
podcast. You'll have to come back.
yes.
Thank you for. Should we tell people how to follow you on Instagram?
Oh, sure. You can find me at the word hash. So it's hashtag Maddie B, the word hashtag MATTY, and then the letter B, hashtag Maddie B. And an upcoming that short that we recently produced. It's Sin and Tonic Film. You can follow that. We're in post production now, hoping for a winter premiere of some point. So it's gonna be
Well, we'll be sure to ask Steele about it next week.
yeah.
Thank you,
Please
Maddie B,
do.
for being on with us.
Of course.
And
Thank you,
until next
Rory.
week, you guys stay super excited.